saying 7:29. Is anyone else on 7:30? The computer's on 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30.
Okay, now we do. If you'd like to start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to those out watching this, participating in this meeting via Zoom. Before I begin, I will like to read this notice. Until further notice, meetings of the Plan Commission will be held electronically with the majority of the members participating via remote access in order to comply with the State of Illinois Gubernatorial Disaster Proclamation. Members of the public who wish to comment as to an item on the published agenda must submit their statement or questions in writing to Steve Marciani at steve.marciani@skokie.org, and all properly submitted statements or questions will be presented and read during the relevant portion of the meeting. Written comments also may be submitted by email to citizens comment, that's one word, at skokie.org by mail to the Village of Skokie. Attention, Matt Brandmeier, ex officio Plan Commissioner, at 5127 Oakton Street, Skokie, Illinois 60077, or via the village's drop box, but no later than noon on the day of the meeting, located by the public entry at Village Hall. First order of business tonight, I will call the roll. Commissioner Mitchell.
Well,
Is
okay,
every-
everyone, all plan commissioners, please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourselves, please.
I'm present.
Thank you. Count down as present. Commissioner Quinn.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Berman.
Here.
Commissioner Robinson.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Franklin. Commissioner Franklin.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Lexpati.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Commissioner Jeff Berman.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Matei.
Here.
Thank you, and I am here. So we do have a quorum, all members present. I'd like to welcome our new member, Keith Robinson, to the commission, and your first meeting tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, first order of business is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Someone please make a motion.
So moved.
So moved. Who seconds?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes have been approved. First case tonight is case 2020-13P, a special use permit request at 3938 Dempster Street. Chris P. and Harry P. I'm not going to pronounce the last name, I'm sorry. Request a special use permit for an outdoor dining at an existing limited service restaurant in a B2 commercial zoning district. I believe the restaurant is the Grecian Kitchen. And is there notice and order?
Yes, sir, notice is proper and correct.
Okay. And are the petitioners here tonight? Are they online?
Yes, please unmute yourself. We'll get there.
Yes, I'm here. Harry?
Oh, thank you. I apologize for not trying to pronounce your last name.
That's okay.
But for the record, would you give us your full name?
Harry Ikosideka.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so you're applying for an outdoor dining permit.
Correct.
Okay, so kind of give us kind of an idea of what you want to do.
Well, we kind of just want to dress up the outside a little bit over there. We're gonna build a little landscaping area around. We're gonna have a little a roof that's gonna be extended from our roof to kind of cover it up, and just have I believe like 4 or 5 tables out there. It'll be supported up by 4 columns, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we just wanted to kind of dress it up. We're in the process already. We just redid the roof and kind of give it a little remodel all the way around. A little cosmetic work on the inside, a little more beauty on the outside.
Right in here.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions of the petitioner?
I have a
Scott Berman.
question. What is the material of the roofing? Is that metal, Harry, Chris, on top of the pillars?
Yes, it will be metal. Metal, I guess the base of it, and then just a smaller, not as thick, I don't believe, as our regular roof that we put up there, but it would be pretty similar to where it will be leak proof and all that, but it will be a metal deck.
So it's a permanent installation, metal deck on pillars with fascia to match the existing building, so the appearance will look like just a continuation of the existing building.
Correct.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Quinn?
During the month of October, do you see yourself enclosing this in some way? Temporary enclosing? So folks can dine during the month of October, or are you concerned about that at all?
I am concerned about whether we can or cannot enclose it. I don't know if it's going to be okay for us to do it.
Like some kind of tenting material or something?
Yeah, we've thought about maybe if we could, ask and see if it's okay for us to put like some kind of curtain of some sort, or that the tent stuff, like a tent curtain that could go around maybe.
Well, there's quite a few tents out there already, so I'd be
Right.
puzzled if you could not.
Right. Yeah, if we're able to do it, for sure we would do it, just to try to keep it going a little bit longer, the dining. The past couple days that it's been cold out there, we haven't had much people sitting out there, so it'd be nice if we can.
But that's not what we're voting on tonight, Paul. Tonight, we're only voting on the permanent structure of the verticals and the horizontal and the appearance. And if they want tenting, that'll be something they'll work out with the village later. Is that right?
Well, actually, we're not voting on the structure itself. We're voting on his request for an outdoor permit
Outdoor dining.
for outdoor dining.
So does that include this tenting discussion?
I was gonna ask the staff if this
Okay.
had gone before the Appearance Commission.
Yes, this went before the Appearance Commission in September, and it was subject to the revisions that you see tonight.
Okay. Did everybody hear that from Gary
Yes.
Haberstash? Okay.
I think,
Any further questions?
I had a question.
Yes. Commissioner,
I was just wondering how many additional seating will this allow?
Well, we'll probably be able to fit about
That's Harry.
5 4 tops out there. I don't know if it's necessarily additional, but for now we've been moving. We move 50% of our tables from inside outside right now, and I think that's the way we're going to keep it. If everything goes back to normal, it probably would allow, I would say, 4 to 5 tables more on the outside.
Thank you.
I have a question.
yes, go ahead.
Couple things. One is there going to be any propane heaters at all?
We were thinking about it. I haven't had we haven't purchased any, but if it's gonna need to, if we'd be able to put it out there, yeah, we'll consider putting out a heater.
Yeah, I don't know what the restrictions are with under a roof, but it's something, I don't know, for staff to, if the fire department or whatever's got to weigh in on it.
The fire
Well,
department
back
has to
to-
weigh in on, all
Jeff,
materials
Jeff,
have to be fireproof.
Jeff, back to my question from before. If tonight we're not voting on heaters, no heaters, or tent or no tent, if we're just giving them the permission to have the tables, chairs, roof, and verticals, then that's what we should vote on and let them worry about heaters or tents later as a later permit issue. I think, unless Steve or Carrie want to correct me and tell me that we should be voting on tents and heaters tonight.
No, you're correct, Commissioner Bourbon. You know,
He said-
the
you
issue
suggest
is just
Scott's
for the
correct?
permit. And,
I am
heaters
correct.
and the roof have nothing to do with the permit itself.
Okay, all right, perfect. Then one other question, if that's okay, is kind of my typical one, but and I'm sure they're very conscientious about it, but I'm embarrassed to say I didn't see this write-up before the meeting, so I don't know if it's in there, but the trash requirements relative to trash receptacles in the outdoor area and in the parking lot, and the 4-hour requirement, checking the grounds every 4 hours for making sure that they're clean and there's not any debris. Is
It is.
that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? With no further questions, I'm going to ask the staff to give us their report.
Okay. I request to have the Plan Commission accept the staff report into the record as written.
Granted.
Okay, thank you. So yes, the question here tonight is to request a special use permit for outdoor dining at an existing limited service restaurant in a B2 commercial zoning district. Part of the consideration or detail that needs to be worked out is making sure that there's a pedestrian connection from the sidewalk to the front door. So the routing of pedestrians will need to be confirmed and make sure that it's not blocked by tables, either during this season of COVID or in the future when return back to normal. And let's see. And since this is, since outdoor dining is seasonal, no additional parking is required. No tables or chairs are allowed to obstruct access to the main entrance. In addition, a dedicated 5-foot clear walkway must be provided from Dempster Street to the front door. Therefore, it's recommended that this pathway be located, consideration be given to locating it west of the canopy. Over here, actually, probably see it better over here. And then along the storefront to maximize the outdoor dining capacity. Since outdoor dining is an intensification of use, we are requesting 1 bicycle parking space to be provided on the site. Allowable outdoor dining hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., but not beyond the posted hours of operation for the restaurant. And the standard outdoor dining time frame is April 1st to October 31st of each year, and then also as otherwise allowed to facilitate safe outdoor dining, takeout, and curbside pickup. There are 2 existing special use ordinances for a restaurant. In March 2011, limited service restaurants such as a Grecian Kitchen without a drive-through became a permitted use. So technically we can repeal these ordinances. We just have a like a 1-paragraph summary later in this report to kind of cover some of the items that were in those 2 special use ordinances, but otherwise it's not needed at this time, just for the outdoor dining. And I guess I would like to have Harry confirm the signage request. If you're still there, oh, there's
Yes,
Chris.
I'm here.
Okay, so could you confirm what you decided on the signage request?
We decided that we're gonna have, we're gonna move our existing sign from the west side to the east side parking lot.
Okay,
And then around the facade, there will be the Grecian Kitchen will be in the front, and then on the east side.
okay, on the east side facing the parking lot, and then
And I believe
this would be
that
blank on that
Is
side.
going to be
On-
blank.
Okay. So currently their ground sign is located here, and I believe it was installed around 2013. And so they're looking to relocate it since it's fighting for airspace with this covered outdoor dining. It will need to be located farther east than what is shown here to make sure it meets site distance triangle requirements.
Okay.
So based on Harry's response, we will not need to consider the relief from the sign code for a sign on the west elevation since it's not facing a parking lot. So staff recommends that the petitioner's request for outdoor dining associated with a limited service restaurant at 3938 Dempster Street in a B2 commercial district be approved based upon the proposed positive findings of fact and subject to the recommended conditions below. and we'll strike the relief item. Staff also recommends repealing ordinances 94-8-Z-2451 and 81-6-Z-1367, while ensuring the subject site complies with the village code, including plumbing such as the grease protection for sanitary service and backflow protection for water service, accessibility, trash enclosure, stormwater infrastructure, parking lot, fence, and fire safety regulations. Recommended special use permit conditions include item 1. Prior to a hearing of the subject case before the Board of Trustees, the petitioner shall submit a revised site plan that reflects and/or includes the following: the standard outdoor dining table layout, the ground sign located outside the 15 by 15 site distance triangle that I mentioned earlier, a landscape with plant list. They do show the landscaping, but we'll need plant list as well. And there may be some modification to that to support the pedestrian access to the front door. And also a minimum of 1 bicycle parking space. And item 2 can be struck from the request because they are no longer requesting relief from the code from the Signs chapter of the Village Code. And the rest of the items are standard conditions. Are there any questions?
I think I got it all.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Okay, no questions? Harry, do you have any other questions or comments?
No other questions. Just thank you for listening to us and going over this. And try to get it worked out for us. Appreciate it.
Well, hopefully it will work out for you.
Yes.
Thank you. Was there any public comment on this case? There's nothing submitted?
There's no public
Nothing
comment.
written prior, so,
Okay,
and
no,
nothing,
nothing submitted, okay.
No.
So we have no public comments, okay, very good. At this point, I'm open for a motion with all conditions, amendments, and changes recommended by staff at this meeting tonight.
I enthusiastically move approval as presented and as modified by staff and by the petitioner, including the issues of the signage and the location of the pylon sign and the plants to be detailed. All of those things that Carrie said, we are including in this motion.
Okay, do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Lexpati. Okay, call for the vote. Commissioner Mitchell?
oh, gotta unmute.
Unmute, George. Commissioner Mitchell? Aye. I take that as an aye. Commissioner
Yes.
Quain? Commissioner Quain?
Thumbs up?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye, okay. Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Franklin? Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Lexpati?
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Matei?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. So this still has to go before the Board of Trustees at some future date. They meet on the first and third Mondays of every month. And Harry, you'll be notified when this case goes before them. And I wish you a lot of luck with your project.
Thank you.
And be
Thank you
safe.
so
Thank you.
much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Next
Good luck.
case for reading
you.
is case 2014. And I believe we have two cases these are
Related.
related.
yes.
All right, so we have,
Actually, just real quick. Harry,
Yeah.
you're allowed to exit the meeting if you would like.
yes.
Thank
Oh,
you.
You can
You're
stick around
excused.
if you want, Harry.
You can
Please.
stick around, but
You
you're
can stick
also
around.
allowed
You're more than
to.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Have a good evening. So we have case 2020-14 subdivision at 7800 Austin Avenue, and related case 2020-15P zoning map amendment at 78005 Austin Avenue. Is the petitioner here tonight?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. And Counselor, is there no notice and order?
Yes, sir, notice is proper and correct.
Okay. Sir, would you give your name for the record, please, your full name?
Yeah, Mark Hauser with Bridge Development Partners. And we have another,
Nick Siegel with Bridge Development Partners.
That's a dilemma. Do I swear these people in over Zoom? Can I swear these people in over Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm gonna swear you in. Do you affirm tonight that the testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you both?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, proceed, just give us an overview of your request in both cases. We're gonna do both cases together.
Okay. Nick, you wanna?
Are you able to see
Yeah,
this?
Mark, I can give a quick high-level overview of Bridge, and then I'll let you dive into what we're doing here specifically. So I'm Nick Siegel. I'm the Chicago regional partner for Bridge. I run the region. We have been one of the most active developers in Chicago. This first page is our track record. We've done 9.3 million square feet since 2015. We've been around for 20 years. And, everyone at Bridge is locally based. We really, really like being in Chicago and its surrounding municipalities. And we're really, really excited to do our next industrial project in Skokie. It's a town we've never done a deal in before. Everyone has been great to work with so far, and we're really, really excited to bring a little bit more industrial products here.
Okay.
This is our Cook County experience. I think we can breeze through that. This will actually be our 15th Cook County deal since 2012.
Okay, and what kind of a project is this?
Pardon?
What's the substance of the project? Is this
It's a Class A industrial warehouse. So Bridge is a speculative developer of industrial buildings. So we build warehouses and then lease them to a variety of different tenants. Our tenants are everyone from your Fortune 500 guys to your kind of local mom and pops. Most recently, we've done leases kind of out in Itasca with Keyens Corporation, down in Downers Grove with ThyssenKrupp, in Franklin Park with Lowe's and a company called Tablescapes. So we've been one of the more active industrial developers. So what you're looking at here is a 171,840 square foot industrial building. It'll have two entrances, one on the north, one on the south, kind of along Austin Avenue. We are buying the Castwell Products, facility, and we're going to be tearing that down to build a brand new, modern warehousing and distribution facility.
Will this be for a single tenant or a multiple tenant?
It would
It'll
be,
designed for, it can go both ways.
yeah, it can have 1, 2, or possibly 3, but probably 1 or 2 tenants.
Okay. And it's strictly warehousing, there's no manufacturing or refurbishing or some kind of production work?
The warehouse, so the tenants are going to be primarily warehouse distribution, light manufacturing, assembly. The building is a 32-foot clear, so the tenants can come in and do high racking. It has ESFR sprinkler system, which is sort of the latest and greatest. So there's a lot of flexibility built into the facility. On the site plan you're looking at there, so the main entrance would be at the northeast corner of the building. That's where we have, the car parking right on site, and then at the southeast, and then we've got the parking lot across the street, which I think you're aware of. And that's the parcel that is currently zoned, I believe it's R1, R2, and we're gonna bring that into the industrial zoning so that it's reflective of the building itself and the property surrounding.
If I could, the request tonight and what's before the Plan Commission is the subdivision, which will allow for the dedication of Austin Avenue, and
Can you
then
speak up?
rezoning of the.
Whoever's
Can you turn
talking.
your green button on? Is it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the dedication of Austin Avenue through the subdivision plat, and then the rezoning of the parcel, which is on the east side of Austin Avenue. The actual building itself and that site is already zoned, and while it requires the parking on the other side, you know, a building permit could be submitted for that site.
Yeah, my questions were more or less directed towards to make sure that the use matches the zoning amendment that we're approving tonight.
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to say that the audio from where you are right now is very difficult. to
That,
make out.
and Paul, you started to say something, and we couldn't hear you either.
Oh, my comment was that my questions were directed only to make sure that the use will fit the zoning map amendment change that we're gonna look at tonight.
And what was Matt saying?
Say that again.
Well, essentially that there are just two requests on the agenda. One is the subdivision plat, which is essentially to allow for the dedication of Austin Avenue. And then second, the rezoning of the parking lot on the east side of Austin Avenue.
Yeah, then I followed with the comment was that I was just more concerned with, to make sure that the petitioner's use matches the use that we're gonna approve tonight, as far as the zoning goes.
Yeah, the building that we have designed here meets the criteria of the existing zoning. And so there shouldn't be a question there. And then the only item was the rezoning of the parking lot. It's currently a parking lot, but it's zoned R2, so staff asked us to bring that under the M2 zoning to be consistent again with what the building is.
Right. So, okay. Gentlemen, do you have anything else to present? If not, I'm gonna ask if there will be questions. All right, at this point, are there any questions of the petitioners? Any questions? No questions, no comments? Okay. Let's move on to the staff report. Who's gonna present the staff report?
Steve.
Steve? Thank you, Steve.
Thanks. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to respectfully request that the staff reports for case 2020-14P and 2020-15P be accepted into the record as presented.
Granted.
Very good. Yeah, so following up what Matt Breinmeyer was saying, we are actually not actually reviewing the building here. We're just reviewing the subdivision and the rezoning. The subdivision will actually take 5 parcels and combine them into 2 parcels with a new right-of-way down the where Austin was supposed to be. Currently, Austin is disconnected by a piece on the south and a piece on the north, and actually only half of a piece on the north. As anyone who's gone to Niles West and decided to park over that way, the street's in really bad condition because half of it is not actually a street. So this will bring the full right-of-way width on the north part, north of the site, and then it will kind of shrink down in right-of-way width, but the eventual road that will go through will be consistent with, and then connect with the Austin to the south. So this has been in the comprehensive plan for a very long time, and we're finally get to realize this. So as a reminder, this is just a fiduciary duty of the commission. So they are asking for some relief on the right-of-way width, which we are, on portions of the right-of-way width, which we are recommending. So that is an item of relief, but other than that, the subdivision meets all of the requirements of the code. Lot 2 of the new subdivision is the existing parking lot. That parking lot is non-conforming for a whole bunch of reasons. Because this is a scrape and rebuild, they will need to bring that into conformance. So they will be putting in trees and bringing the widths of the aisles into compliance. But along with that, then the zoning is not correct. A very, very long time ago, This whole property was zoned R2. The high school took a chunk of it, and this is kind of what was left over. It became a parking lot for Castwell, and so we don't put M3 next to R1 and R2 districts. So similar to what we did to the north when we rezoned the property, which is now the bus facility, that went to M2 light industry. So this would also go to M2 light industry, which is compatible according to the zoning against an R1 or R2 district. Other than that, it's pretty perfunctory.
Any questions of the staff on either case?
I have a question, Paul.
Please go ahead, Mr. Quain, Commissioner Quain.
This could either be for Steve or the petitioner. I think I saw some loading bays, truck docks in the conceptual drawing. We also have a bus depot at that corner. Is it not on the corner of Austin and Oakton, the new bus depot, the high school, where the old Menards used to be?
It's a bus, it's a bus transportation facility, yes.
Yeah. So with new tenants coming and going, I'm just curious how those trucks might mix with all these buses. Obviously, the buses only go out in the early morning and late in the afternoon, but I just want to have anyone respond to that if they care to.
Yeah, this is Mark Hauser again with Bridge. The desire, I know, is to extend Austin to the south. And the better route for our truck traffic is actually to go to the south to get on Howard. So I would guess that the majority of our truck traffic would go in that direction and not be a conflict with the buses. But obviously, there's going to be some of that traffic going north. But according to our studies, based on what has been going on there and what we're bringing, there really should be no, and with the opening of Austin to the south, the traffic situation should be better than what it's been.
Commissioner Quinn, I believe, and I'm not sure on the timeline in this, but there's some intersection improvements and traffic light improvements that are going to be happening at Austin also. I'm not sure if they've either just happened or will be happening shortly. Maybe if Matt or Carrie knows that. So that will also be part of it. But the road is going to be upgraded significantly, and there will not be, most of the buses going in and out of there are going to be empty.
Yeah, there are plans to improve this intersection. It hasn't happened yet, but it's in planning stage.
My question for the staff had to do with the opening of South Austin. And are the timelines set such that South Austin toward Howard opens about the same time as this rebuild and reconstruction and thereby truck movement happens at the same time?
Matt, do you know the timeline on whether this is all happening together or?
Yeah, the opening for, truck traffic will, the road will be open at the time of construction of the new building. But the road won't be upgraded. Right now it's clean rock and some pavement kind of mixed in. So they'll be able to pass over that. We'll remove the fence. And I think there's some storage and some trees that are kind of in the middle of the road there. So we'll make that passable. And then at some point in the future, it's budgeted in the CIP in order to rebuild the entire road.
Good.
They could hear
Okay,
that.
any other questions of staff? None. Okay. At this point, Mr. Hauser, do you have anything else to present or any further comments?
Nothing from me, no.
Okay. And Nick, anything from you or?
No.
Okay, all right. I am open for a motion on case 2020-14, a subdivision at 7800 Austin Avenue.
So moved.
Who's that? I'm sorry, who's that?
Franklin?
Thank you, Commissioner Franklin.
I'll second it.
Who's the
Jeff
second?
Berman.
Jeff Berman, thank you. Call for the vote. Commissioner Mitchell?
Aye.
Commissioner Quain?
Look forward to this new development. Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Lexpati,
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Matei,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. And related case 2020-15P, the zoning map amendment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept it as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Jeff Berman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Matei. Call for the vote. Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Quayne,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson,
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin.
Aye.
I'm sorry?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Lexpati,
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman,
Aye.
Commissioner Matei,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Again, both these cases still have to go before the Board of Trustees at a meeting. They meet again at the first and third Mondays of every month. Gentlemen, you'll be notified when this case goes before them, and they will have the final vote on the cases, okay? Good luck with your project, and I wish you well. Be safe. Thank you very much for joining us on Zoom tonight.
Well, thank you very much. We
Very much.
appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to it.
Okay, you can stick around for the meeting if you want.
Or you may be excused as well.
Okay.
Uh,
Our next case is a continuation was held over from the last meeting. It's case 2020-12P, special use permit at 5550 Howard. And is the petitioner here tonight?
Yes. We're in the process of unmuting.
Petitioner, would you identify yourself, please, for the record? Is he unmuted, or is he?
Yeah, he's unmuted.
Okay,
Sorry?
quite all right.
Can you identify yourself, please?
For the record, please.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear him. William Sidlowski, President of BCLS Landscape Brick Paving.
Okay. I know this is continued from the last meeting, but for the record, would you kind of give us an overview of your request for special use and why you need it?
My request is that I was looking for special use permit in regards to a property and that is being occupied for landscape material storage. I did meet on the property today with the engineer, the lead engineer from the village of Skokie, Russ, because I had some questions in regards to the recommendations prior to this meeting and received some clarity from him and some ideas. He indicated from his interpretation, which he said is strictly engineering, not to take into account other aspects, but from the engineering that he foresees that there would be no MWRD report necessary based at any of the grade. The only grade change or any of the stormwater was only based on the front berm that was put in for the landscape purpose, number one. And we actually did not change anything that would have a watershed addition or reduction. However, based on his recommendation, we will reach out to the MWRD for verification that we would not be subject to a review under their scrutiny. The other item that was under his jurisdiction or that he looked at was the right-of-way in front of the current building that is there that runs as an addition along Howard. There's currently 6 parking spots there now with some grass area with several trees and then the sidewalk. We were informed that the right-of-way was expanded at the time that anything was going to be built. The right-of-way requirement that they were looking to adapt was based on plans that were presented in 2015 under the previous owner, Herrig, which was the incinerator company, in which they were going to incorporate all the land and eliminate that building, and then put in 2 other buildings equaling 40,000 square feet with retention, parking lot, and access through the alley. And that right-of-way requirement is coming off of that plan, which has been abandoned, and nor do we plan to look to build now, hopefully in the future, but not in the near future, with resources and finances at where they're at. And that was one of the other contingency that Russ suggested that I make apparent, is we are not using it as our day-to-day operations for landscape offices or our in and out trucks. We're using it for storage of equipment and materials, which is what we are currently using at, which he visited and did a walkthrough today on.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
I'm sorry, was that directed to me, sir?
No, I'm directing it to the commissioners if they have any questions. There are no questions of the, in this case, from the commissioners? No questions?
One question,
Yes.
Chairman Luke, for the petitioner. So I've driven by it. It's a greatly cleaned up property. There are no further changes, just the use that you're currently using it as storage. I understand snow plow equipment and off-season equipment.
That is correct, sir. What we do is, what we would utilize it for is for bulk material storage. We would utilize it to keep, like currently, we probably have 60 or 70 snow plows on the property, which in the next 30 days will be eliminated from the property as they're placed on site as a snowplow contractor. In the season, we stage our equipment directly on the sites that we perform snow services at. Currently, we are at about maybe 45% of the fencing being completed, and candidly, between time and we've lost maybe a little bit over 27% of our income with the COVID, with some of our corporate shopping centers and different things canceling their floral displays and different elements of their improvements. So we have taken a little bit hit there. However, we are looking to secure a loan to complete the fencing project, and we would hope to have it completed by the end of this, and weather permits, calendar year. And then, yes, all we would be looking to do is stage our material and equipment there, and on a periodic basis come and pick that up and drop it back off. We would have it all fenced in. We do have security cameras. We do have lighting on the building. Not that this is a matter of this, but we're looking to beautify and actually use it as an advertisement in the front by installing, Christmas lights, putting a Santa Claus display on the roof, and try and patronize, Skokie as well as our business to try and, when people do pass by, that they relate it to a positive experience aesthetically and be a benefit for BCLS.
Thank you for your clarification.
I have to say, I drive by it every day and have for 30 years, and it's a huge improvement, so I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, at this point, I'd like to have the staff present its report to the commission.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like again to respectfully request that the new staff report for 2020-12P be accepted into the record as presented.
it's granted.
So just to give you some updates, what happened last time and kind of where we were. Carrie, can you bring up the current picture?
Like a
So-
current aerial?
I just want to be, so that this request is for outdoor storage, and I just want to be very clear with the commission that a storage yard that is just used for storage without a principal use is not allowed in the village of Skokie. We've had this over and over again with people wanting to store cars, that belong to, that are going to get sold in another town. If there isn't a principal use, you cannot have outdoor storage. So we don't, we have to have a principal use on this building. There was an occupancy permit applied for this. It has not been issued. Yes, it is true that there was a previous plan for this, but with part of that was a dedication of right-of-way. The right-of-way is outside of the site plan and in the jurisdiction. I don't know if that's actually under consideration right now, but the engineering director has been very clear that despite the fact that the might have been dedicated to do something else, it is still dedicated, and that parking is sitting in the right-of-way, and it does need to be removed. So that, from staff's perspective, is really not up for discussion. And we do acknowledge that the site does look better. It was a wooded area before, but again, this area is already being used for outdoor storage and has never been given a special use permit for that. So we need to get this into compliance, and because this is a clear expansion of the business or what was there before, since it was current before that was vacant, we do have to bring the property up to code, which is why we're requesting the things that we are. We did scale back on a few things. We do need to get clarification from MWRD whether or not they need to get involved with this. That is not our jurisdiction, but we can't have it come back later and then have come back to us that we didn't do our due diligence, which is our requirement to do to MWRD. So at this point, really, we've never gotten a civil plan, and you know, granted the property is probably flat, and as Russ did indicate to the petitioner that it probably won't be a problem, but we still need to ask that. So, and this, the pavement needs to come out of our right-of-way, and the facility needs to be improved so that there's only one curb cut, and that the parking is there. So we at least need just those portions that are for the required parking, which in this case is a minimum of 6. We still need a little bit of clarification, which will need to be probably inside the fence at that point. So that's just our position on those things. I mean, we're completely happy to have a landscaping business here, but there needs to be a business here. So that means that the building has to have an occupancy permit, and with that occupancy permit comes the outdoor storage for that use, which is landscaping services. So we are looking for, today you're voting on a special use permit for a self-storage facility for a landscaping services use. So I just want to kind of put that into perspective. And we do need to get that fence completed because there isn't supposed to be anything stored there because without the fence being there. That's part of the requirement for outdoor storage. So we did give a 60-day timeline, I believe, in the conditions for that. What we need to move forward is a scaled plan showing the current conditions, the removal of the parking spaces in the Howard Street right-of-way, and the legal bicycle parking spaces being put in. I think that's an outstanding comment from the occupancy permit also. And so that the surfaces that are for the parking facilities do need to be paved with an approved pavement, and that is not stone. And then we need just to update the landscaping plan verbally or written in prose form. They did tell us the additional plants they're putting in the berm. The berm looks nice. It needs to be supplemented with some things. We just need that put on the plan. And then within the next 60 days of the approval petition, we have to get the issues resolved with the citations that are outstanding and the completion of the construction of the fence. And that's just staff's position on this.
So I'm unclear. I was unclear reading it, and I'm unclear a little bit tonight. Is staff recommending that we approve with all of those conditions?
Subject to those conditions, that prior to the case going to the trustees, they have to get the landscape plan updated and get us the civil plan showing those free spaces that have to be paved and how they plan on doing that. And then within 60 days after the approval, it's to get the fencing completed. So I guess you are at this point saying, yes, we're going to give them an extra 30 days. Normally, the fence is completed before we approve an outdoor storage area.
Yes.
The occupancy, but it's currently being occupied now without an occupancy permit.
So we are approving as recommended with all of those conditions, including getting rid of the violations that are currently there and building the fence and doing everything else you said, so that they can, so our approval is to say that we recommend this to our Board of Trustees, but only to go to the Board of Trustees if all of these things are accomplished in the next 30, 60 days.
The plan with the scale plan with the current conditions, the removal of the parking spaces, the legal vehicle and bicycle parking spaces on approved surfaces, that needs to be prior to the Board of Trustees, and the landscaping plan update, which should be pretty easy, because the landscaping company, just to add those items to the landscaping plan that were stated in the letter that was provided on, I think it was September 1st.
So what doesn't need to be done before the Board of Trustees?
The resolution of our recommendation is that we give them 60 days after the board approves to resolve the citations and complete the construction of the fencing and screening as approved by the special use permit.
After the Board of Trustees.
Yes.
So certain things that we're approving tonight, saying the board should approve it then if those things are done in the time being, and then after that, we are still giving with the board another 60 days for further completion.
To complete the fence, yes.
Is
You
that
can modify that, that's completely fine. That's our recommendation to you.
I have a question then, based on that, is to the petitioner, is based on what your comment was relative to loans and COVID and 27% reduction in revenues and all, and the fence being pivotal to getting this done, is 60 days plus all the time it takes to get in front of the board. So basically 90 days, is that reasonable to get it done?
Yes, the only criteria that I can't speak for at this moment would be weather. And, normal circumstances, because we are doing the fence internally in-house, and we normally can work, up until we get a hard frost as far as to secure the posts in the ground. However, the only, criteria that I would inject is, which is somewhat unlikely. However, if we were to receive a hard frost, November 1st, obviously that would impair us to be able to continue working and sink. We're probably going 48 inches on our posts down on the 6-inch posts and the 4-inch posts. That would be the only reason that we would not be able to finish. I would obligate that I will secure funds to complete the project financially. Not to be redundant, the only thing would be if weather allows.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just to give everyone a kind of a spatial orientation, that this body did approve or recommend approval, and the village board did approve a school to the north of here. So I just want to point that out. We have a school that's been approved to the north of the site, and I just want to make sure that there isn't any access to that.
Okay. Thank you.
That there's one. For my clarity, what was the statement in regards to?
The building to the north has been approved for a school and is being converted to a school use.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay.
So my question is, going back to, Steve, your recommendation, have we ever approved anything like this where we say we approve and there are so many things to be done 30, 60, 90 days after us and after the Board of Trustees that we have no real control of that? It's separate from the school issue, because the school isn't under construction yet anyway.
No, I understand.
But have we ever done this before?
Generally, the permission is asked to do something before it actually happens.
Has there ever been a time where it hasn't been that way?
Not in my recollection since I've been here. I mean,
so this new
for this type of construction, no. I mean, there are times where we've had uses that have happened that we've found out that then they have to come back and get a special use permit. But to the best of my knowledge, we haven't had one where construction has been involved.
So in law, we would call this ripeness. This does not seem ripe. It doesn't seem ripe from your discussion a few minutes ago, nor does it seem ripe historically in terms of what we usually vote on. So if we never vote this way otherwise, and you don't really like the 30, 60, 90-day gap anyway.
We're recommending that. That is our recommendation. I mean, we're acknowledging the fact that this use is here, and we've been working to get this corrected for a while, and this is one of those things that has to get corrected. So this is getting us closer to where we want to be under the circumstance. Would not have been my preference that it happened this way. But this is where we are, so this is the remedy that we're recommending at this point.
Okay, just last question. Why do it this way rather than the usual way, which is to let them finish the items, then come back to us in November or December?
They're already operating, Commissioner Berman. That's the issue.
And just to be clear, it doesn't seem like we're losing any control, because in essence, what we're doing is we're empowering staff to be the governing body or the authority here to make sure that everything that we're approving, subject to all those items, is getting done. Am I not correct?
The enforcement would be through, once the ordinance is passed, the enforcement would be through the administrative hearing process. So it's a ticketable, if things don't get done, it's ticketable.
Right. So there's no lack of control. It's just empowering staff in the administrative process to police it.
I mean, look, we're happy, once they give us the plan for the parking spaces and the pavement that needs to get paved, we're fine with this being a landscaping storage area and having a landscaping company, just like O'Brien down the street, if you remember, sometime not too long ago, they were also in non-compliance, and they came into compliance and paved and put the fence in and put in plumbing, things that they needed to operate their business. Yes.
I'm inclined to vote yes. I'm fully in favor of all of this. I just didn't like the order in which it's being done. But if you, Steve, say that this is the way we should do it to get this into compliance, then I'm fully in favor of it. And I do like the entry berm, and I do like the appearance from Howard Street, as Jeff said earlier. So
they acknowledged. Yes.
Okay, I'm happy.
Commissioners, this is kind of a unique case, and I believe the staff is trying to work around a lot of the pitfalls and landmines in this case, and I believe Steve and staff have come up with a solution that's equitable for all parties involved. So, hence the little dancing around. So, I think we could be a little tolerant on this. Any other further questions? Okay.
Would it be acceptable that I make a comment?
Certainly.
You know, my intentions, and I do understand and I do appreciate the, I guess I would say forgiveness in regards to it. My intentions were never, to look to sneak in a storage facility, a landscape company, or anything of that extent. When we first purchased the property and went through an extensive, cleaning of the property by removing, 4 or 5 abandoned vehicles, over 70 loads of debris and things of that nature. To my understanding now, I possibly needed to apply for permission for that or a permit for that, and not saying, that ignorance is an excuse, but I really didn't know. I figured, what I was doing was in a positive attribute to the community and the property. So with the other things that were explained that need to be done, my intentions are to be there for a long period of time and to do the right thing by myself as a businessman, as well as for the village, to improve the property and to work with the village to go ahead and get these things resolved within that time frame, to where it wasn't a mistake to go about it in somewhat of a jaded fashion as far as the timeline. So I'm just vocalizing my commitment to doing the right thing for the village as well as for our business.
Thank you, and I really believe that what you're doing is indicative of a responsible property owner, and I applaud you for that. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd just like to also acknowledge, the BCLS did apply for tree removal permits, and there were things that were done properly. We want to keep moving forward on this project and get it resolved. And
Okay, all right. I think we're ready for a motion on this case. Any?
Oh.
No, that's right. Do we have any comments from the public?
I move approval
Just a
with the
second,
staff
please.
recommendation as presented.
Wait, Commissioner,
Time?
for the record, there are no public comments on this case. Okay.
I'll second Scott Berman's
Well, Scott,
motion.
Commissioner Berman, would you please repeat your motion?
My motion is that we accept the recommendation of the staff and approve this entire plan as presented, including the conditions and the time frame of those conditions for completion.
Okay. Do I have a
And I will
second?
second Scott Berman's
Scott
motion.
Berman. And Jeff Berman seconds, thank you. Call for the vote. Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Quain.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin.
Aye.
Commissioner Luxpati.
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Matei.
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. And again, this case still has to go before the Board of Trustees for the full approval. And, sir, you'll be notified when that case will be on their docket. Okay, and again, thank you very much, and good luck with your project.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I will look to proceed in a expedient fashion to get this behind us, and thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before we close the meeting tonight, I just want to make an announcement that Commissioner Luxpati and Commissioner Scott Berman will be leaving the commission. And at this point, I want to thank them for their time, for their devotion, and, to community service. You are both an asset to the commission. I've always enjoyed your comments, your support, and your dedicated service to the village. And I thank you very much for that. Gentlemen, thank you.
Sorry to hear that. We're gonna miss you guys.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
It will be a pleasure to working with you and the staff of the.
You stay healthy, Commissioner Luxpati. You be well, okay?
We will see you guys around town.
Yes, we
Scott,
will.
we all eat hot
I'm
dogs.
sure we'll see.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
the last of it.
Yeah, thank you both. I
Okay.
wasn't aware of this till just now.
No, me neither.
Thank you both.
Okay, again, thank you for your service, both of you.
We'll see you all soon.
Only one Berman on the commission. That's gonna be odd.
Confusing.
Okay, very good. Gentlemen, any comments, further comments? With no further comments, no business before the commission. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah.